Hey, what is up, everyone? It's Rich. All right, welcome to a video. All right, so this was a request, and before I forget the artist names, it's Kei Urana, and the book is called Gachiakuta. The I'm like, I hope I said that right and remembered it. I don't know this book at all. It was a request from Donald DeLay yesterday, and I look up everyone's requests, and then I kind of wing it. Like if something catches my eye and I like it, or I think that I would be able to narrate like a 15 to 20 minute video on it, like right away, I'll do it. Other artists, sometimes I have to like gather my thoughts. There was an artist that a few people have recommended recently that has a heavy Frazetta vibe, and I want to do the artist. I can't think of the person's name right now. The stuff is really good, but I needed to gather my thoughts as I was collecting images to do a video on them. All kinds of different stuff was coming up that wasn't the artist's work, so it'd be like it's got a heavy Frazetta influence, and so Bernie Wrightson and Frazetta and all this other stuff was coming up, and I had to be really careful what images I was picking. Other artists too. So anyway, but this art is really really cool. It's definitely not going to be for everyone that follows my channel, because it's very very cartoony. All that said, it is really really cool, and it's well drawn, and this is a fairly new manga from what I can tell. It's got about 30 chapters out right now, and all the YouTube videos are just up within a few months. So this is actually something that is, as far as I can tell, is kind of new and pretty cool. So look, there will be spoilers, at least visually, if you watch this video. I pull from the most recent chapter that came out, chapter 21 and chapter 26. I did look at issue number 1, which I think this cover might be the first collection, but I opted to grab later issues just because I don't know, whatever. So let's get into full screen mode and check this out. But this should be really really fun, and the art is really cool. So this is a cover. It's nicely colored. There were a few artists that it reminded me of when I saw it, which is, and I'll never remember the artist's name right now, but it's the artist that did King of Bandaging, or Bandaging, and that was about the main sort of similarity that I could find. Bandaging came out a long time ago, and Bandaging is really really good. If you like this, definitely check it out, because those books are insanely good. But yeah, this is nice. There's a deceivingly simple quality to this. I assure you that this stuff would not be easy to draw. This artist moves the camera around quite well, has pretty dynamic figures, and picks a lot of shots that are pretty subtle, but it's no joke. I mean, as you get better at drawing, you can really tell the people that have learned how to draw and the people that are kind of like sort of not really there yet. There's just little cues, the direction of lines, shapes, and stuff like that. There's all kinds of tells. The tells that I'm getting from this artist are that they draw well. Some fun graffiti type stuff. Maybe there's a little bit of a Fooly Cooley vibe on this. I haven't seen Fooly Cooley in a while, really, actually a long time, but yeah, this is great. Love the graffiti kind of stuff going on in this, and this is a really really nice little shot. Some cool screen tones going on. Gotta like this stuff. It looks good. Nice and clear too, which I like. He's great. But yeah, if you're new to my channel, definitely sign up. And then I'm not just a YouTuber. I actually am an artist. So you can follow me on Instagram and check out my stuff. Been a professional for quite a long time, and you might like it. I really like this this effect that he's using on different spots. He or she. I'm not positive that it's a guy, to be honest. Yeah, this is really good. These are kind of cherry picked. Some of these pieces. I looked at the thumbnails and was like grabbing stuff that I knew was interesting and had a little bit of a variety and whatnot. So. It's a situation too with this where it's like the backgrounds are pretty tight and a little more detailed, and then the characters are more simplistic, like the faces and stuff like that. But it's a good way to tell a story. This is a really nice shot. Yeah, really, really good. I like how the buildings are at different angles too, because it's like this building is kind of tilted, and this one is really tilted. In particular, it's tilted even based on what's attached to it. Like this is really sloping down, and this isn't so much, but it works. It looks cool. I don't really. That's kind of stuff doesn't really bug me. I'll point it out if I'm doing a review for someone and say, you know, you might want to watch that, but I also will quickly tell them that, like, if it's your style, it's your style. Sometimes you have to push it more. That's the thing is if you use real subtle, like extreme foreshortening and stuff like that, and you don't use it consistently or push it far enough, then it looks like a drawing mistake. But if you use it a lot, and then even, like I said, push it to limit, this is really good. Oh, love the little car. Yeah, nice sense of scale on this. So you're okay. So it's Urana Kei. I'd seen it listed the other way. I know that they'll sometimes flip it depending on who wrote it. But anyway, the city of graffiti. Yeah, but this looks so much like bandaging. Bandaging is wild. This has to be inspired by bandaging. There's all kinds of little things I'm seeing that definitely are similar. This is really cool. Man, that is awesome. This is a great little shot too. I love this. Man, he's getting some really cool effects. Some of this stuff might be like laid in, you know, like patterns and stuff that he's dropping in and then putting like airbrush over. And you know, when you have, in particular, if you're doing it digitally, I mean, you've got all kinds of, you can regurgitate things over and over again and use the same, you know, just pull it in perspective and stuff like that. I mean, traditionally, you can set stuff up that way and then just lightbox it, I guess. But, you know, like, once this is drawn one time in Clip Studio or Photoshop, I mean, you could definitely reuse parts of this again and again. So there's an advantage to it. This is nice. Again, this is so cool. It's like a watercolor brush that he's using. I'm definitely getting the vibe that this is all digital. That's nice though. Like, this is good. And he could be using like Psy or something like that. It's got a few different textures on here. I can see a crosshatch brush in it, but it's definitely, it looks like he's using either an oil or watercolor brush and then hitting it with a crosshatch brush. I'm not a big fan of the crosshatch brush, honestly, in Clip Studio. I think that it's getting, well, it's been way overused for a couple of years, and people will blast like backgrounds with it. It really, I think that's not going to age well. But used in small doses, I think it can still be effective. This is all really cool. It is possible that some of it was done traditionally and then he finishes it up digitally. He or she, again. The rub too, when you use Clip Studio, and I see this all the time, this artist is pretty good at mixing it up and getting some organic shapes. Man, you cannot use the ruler tool and just dead straight lines on like buildings. It really doesn't look good. Yeah, these are pixel perfect panel borders, so the panel borders were definitely done digitally. I can tell by how they're done. But yeah, when I see buildings and like everything is lined up perfectly and all the lines are the same exact like line weight, it's not a very interesting look. And in fact, it teeters on looking amateurish, to be honest. It's the fastest way to do it though in Clip Studio. There's certain things I use Clip Studio quite a bit over the last year and a half. I don't use it anymore, but there's certain things in Clip Studio that are a pain in the ass to do, and one is like long straight lines and stuff like that. And so everybody uses the you know, the snap rulers and stuff like that. It can look stiff. Man, this is really cool. He does a great job on this character's hair. And this is really, really cool, too. Great texture here. This all looks nice. It's a fun book. This, like, looks really good. This character is wacky. Very, very big eyes. I can already predict the comments are going to be like, I don't really like this one. It's like, I know it's not for everyone. Not all my videos are going to appeal to everyone. But we have to explore. It's the rules. This is a photo right here, and this is too. These windows are way too tight together to be this distance apart. Like this is a building that's way further away. You wouldn't have this many windows this small. I mean, we're only standing in this scene. Maybe these characters are maybe like 30 yards, 40 yards away, and this is maybe like another, maybe 150 yards away. Like that's like a parking garage. It's like, you know, 500 yards away, maybe even further. But yeah, this is just dropped in. You can get away with it if you've got a good eye for perspective and understand depth of field and stuff like that. But I mean, it wasn't like it wasn't bad on that page, to be clear. But just so people know the techniques. I mean, part of what we do is we kind of try to reverse engineer stuff. This is cool. Lots of middle fingers. He's the edgy artist. I like this little guy. There was a really good cartoon that I saw on Netflix, like an anime. I don't even know if it was technically an anime. It was like two characters that lived in the hood, and one character like turned into fire or something. I saw it a while ago. It's pretty crazy. I kind of liked it though. This all looks cool. This kind of stuff is pretty funny. But you know, he's used this technique very, very sparingly, to his credit. Like seeing this once in a while works for me. It's a very extreme shot. It's kind of fun and wild and stuff like that. And you know, I think if this was on every single page like some artists will do, then it gets to be overkill. This is all cool. This is nice. I like this. That's really cool. Yeah, he really, really does a great job with all this. Man, that's a great shot. I love the down shot on the head right there. It's really, really cool. This is nice too. Really cool action. I'm not generally a fan of blurs, but this actually looks okay. In fact, actually, it looks pretty cool right here. I don't like it as much on the background, but I like it on the ground. And that's definitely a blur, right? Yeah. Oh man, that's cool. Hell yeah. Double page spread, baby. Man, that's an exciting one. It reads very, very clear. Like overall, like it's pretty nicely laid out, and doesn't turn into wallpaper, considering that there's quite a bit going on here. Yeah, it's really neat. Looks nice. Yeah, some really, really fun stuff. Good stuff. At Wildstorm, we had a manga department. Wildstorm was a comic book company that I worked with, that Jim Lee originally owned, and then DC bought us. But we did manga translations there, and they had a line of books. And the girl that ran the department was nice enough. She would always give me free books. And so I would bring home all these cool like manga books. But I've got a bunch still here. CPX, I think it was called, was the like whatever the brand or something. But yeah, there was a couple of books that a series of books that had art that was kind of like this, that I would always like kind of look for stuff like this. I like the aesthetic. It's a nice shot. An American comic book artist, like if you like stuff like this and you've never checked their work out, would be Damian Scott. It's not exactly like this. He doesn't have as much lines, but he's got a very hip hop kind of like aesthetic, and a lot of like, it's very shape oriented art, and he is on Instagram and really deserves more followers. He's a really creative artist, and again, it's like kind of like a hip hop aesthetic put on like American superheroes. I like this little character. He's like a bony squirrel, or like a squirrel with fancy armor or something. This is a super hamster. This looks nice. Again, he's using these techniques very, very sparingly. He's wise with his... It's like, I sometimes will joke and say some techniques are like a spice, and some spices will overwhelm a dish really, really quickly. You just want like a pinch of it, or it's just going to taste like that spice. This artist is actually quite good at just putting a pinch of the spice. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Trust me, I'm keyed in to this stuff at a deeper level. I can just explain it. That's the advantage that you all have. But I don't think about this stuff, to be honest. At least not that I'm aware of. But I found that when I'm on YouTube, I'm able to explain it, but I don't really sit and turn art into math. It's more of a visual thing, and I soak in the information, but then I'm able to verbally explain it to other people. It's a really nice pose. A good example too of like yesterday in the video I was talking about, like sometimes like overdrawing stuff makes stuff not look as good. Obviously the temptation when you've got a hand going back into space and it's holding a very large weapon like this, you know, you have to decide at some point, are you going to show... I've got a mouse that I'm using right now. I'm not using any kind of stylus, but you know what I mean? Like this, the position won't be right, but you've got a choice of that you could stick a hand over this, holding this, you know, and the sleeve would be in a different position or not. He chose not to, but it's not always a laziness thing or like, oh, he can't draw hands backwards, or feet. It's like if you draw enough stuff, you start to realize that some stuff just doesn't look as cool, and leaving a little bit to the imagination really makes the art cooler looking. But when we're learning to draw, we have all this information and we're trying to show anatomy and we're trying to show hands, and we don't know what, you know, we'll call them, they're not even really shortcuts, but the decisions that you make in spots, you know, like this. Where's the rest of his arm? And that it's very, very small based on this other sleeve. There'd probably be a little bit more going on here, but it works. The silhouette, I talked about it yesterday. When you sketch stuff out and you're laying out a piece, a lot of times, well, at least for me, I'll put down the silhouette of something, like the amount of space that it takes, and then I kind of like, I'll key in on the main things that I'm trying to show, which could be his head, shoulders, and maybe this pouch and stick. Everything else is just a push and pull. Like, how much of the sleeve needs to show? Should I have it down, like hanging like this, you know, with maybe his hand could be like here, whatever it is, you know, you just try different shit until you find the least offensive solution. I really like this. It's interesting because I've had to design a lot of bad guys over the last like couple of months. It's fun for me, but it's also quite challenging. But one thing I found is you really have to start with unusual shapes right out of the gate. I would a lot of times try to start out with more normal things and then put things like spikes. I literally said it. I said spikes, pipes, and horns. All this needs is like horns on it, and it would have like every accessory. Well, these are kind of horns, although they're dangly tassels. But yeah, and I realized that it's like no face looks better than any kind of face. So like helmets, black, like just black where you can't see their face. It's really more intimidating and kind of creepy, and it seems to have a mood that I like better. But I always try to put in a face. I try to put in some elements that like you know, I mean, again, it kind of goes back to like drawing the hands and feet. I could draw a face, but it doesn't look as good as no face. Or eyes, you know, sometimes like you'll I kept trying to put eyes in like eye sockets one time, and for a kind of creepy guy, and it just never looked good. Oh, it was a robot thing. Oh yeah, and I was trying to light the eyes up, and whenever I would light the eyes up, it gave it like an emotion that I didn't like. And when I took the eyes out, then it was like it looked like a cold-blooded killer. This is a great drawing right here. Really, really cool. Her wrist is at a very weird angle, though. Based on where her thumb is at, that wrist is broken and on the wrong arm. But it still works overall. On it, like that's a little. I probably fixed that hand. I'm trying to think of what he's got it doing exactly. I don't want to try to draw with the mouse. It'll be too sloppy. But yeah, that hand is at a very unusual position. I kind of get what he's going for, though. But it feels a little bit more like it's this hand over here. Cool shoes, or whatever these are. Blade feet. Ah, it's really nice. This is really good too. Man, this is great shit. What a great... Man, it's a great sequence. This is nice too. Let's rotate it if we can. Look at that. I like this. It's an interesting call, you know what I mean? Like I can't remember if one eye is actually different than the other, but either way it works, even if it's like the eyes, if you could see the mask at a certain angle, that you would see this, like the eyes through it. I think that looks pretty cool. It almost gives the illusion of either that he's seen an explosion, something is coming towards him, or something like there's like impending kind of doom. So it's a nice like little foreshadowing thing. This is really nice spread too. Yeah, this is really good, really good. Man, this guy really can draw great. What fun stuff. Good job, Donald. But I'll be honest, I had seen this stuff before. But it was the moment I looked it up, I was like, oh yeah, I definitely have seen this. But I think at the time, because I considered doing a video on it because it reminded me so much of bandaging, even though the stories are different, kind of different worlds. But I didn't know much about the artist. When you Google it, it's like the images were like not maybe like enough for a video kind of deal. But all right, you guys have a great day. That is Gachiakuta, if I'm not mistaken. It's a hard one to remember. 8:30 in the morning, going into a video cold. So I really liked it. I thought it was really fun. I think that's a great way to start the day. So, all right, you guys have an awesome day. Please, more recommendations. Well, like you can see, I'm pulling them right from the comments section. So, good suggestions of good artists that are doing interesting things are always fun to check out. And again, you don't have to draw in a style like them. The whole world is your oyster to pull from. Don't limit yourself. So, all right, have a great day. Talk to you later. Follow me on Instagram if you don't. I'm telling you, you'd be making a huge misstep if you only think that I do YouTube. I'm telling you. All right, later.